It's often said that great races are won by great riders, and there's no doubting that Damien Oliver fits into that category. He opened his week at Flemington in sensational style with 4 wins on Saturday, including the Newmarket. And today he's a big chance of completing the major double, riding one of the Australian Cup favourites, Carpstad Way, for Chris Wood.
I haven't won an Australian Cup. I'd love to win one. There'll be no added pressure. I know the horse really well, and you know, he's drawn a good barrier. I should be able to give him a good ride, and you know, let's hope the cards fall his way.
Greg Childs won the Australian Cup 2 years ago aboard Istedard, and he's looking to add another with the much-hyped West Australian galloper Northerly. Childs has only ridden the 4-year-old once before, a victory in the Carline Cup.
But Northerly with 58 has bolted in.
I'll be sliding forward and just rolling on his neck and keeping him happy and see what happens from there.
David Hall has sprung a surprise, a change of heart, seeing him deciding to run Amy Victoria Derby winner Hit the Roof.
Hit the Roof wins the Derby by 3 lengths.
You know, it wasn't originally on our plan to run him in the Cup. We were going to sort of head to Sydney, but the way things, you know, timing-wise, you know, I don't think it's one of those races this year. There's a standout sort of older horse in the race, therefore the 3-year-olds might be able to be competitive. If that's the case, Hit the Roof, you know, loves Flemington, and it's just a stroll in the backyard for him.
Glenn Boss will be hoping for yet another gold medal winning ride. Caulfield Cup winner Diatribe will be striving for another major success. Corey Brown is aboard the 4-year-old after a promising build-up, a handy 6th in the St George Stakes. The Kiwi pair up front in that race, sure to figure prominently today.
Sent home Giovanna, sent home wanted to head to Giovanna.
Sent Home comes across the Tasman with big raps, and the 2,000-metre journey looks right up his alley. And the Kiwi mare Giovanna also has plenty of admirers. The Hayes stable is represented in the Cup by 3-year-old Neptune's Journey, the youngster earning his chance after 3 successive seconds in this preparation.
He's done everything right, the horse. He's a young horse against, you know, some proven older horses, but we couldn't be happier with him, and we think he's up to class, so we thought we'd give him a crack at it.
Another 3-year-old with each way claims is the John Hawkes trained Sale of Century, though his best may be still to come.
I wouldn't be surprised if he won, but you know, it'd be a pleasant surprise, put it that way, because he's only going in second up, and running going to have a couple of runs, and you know, he's going to run Australian Cup, Rosehill Guineas, and then he'll be 110% for the AJC Derby.
There's a lot of quality in the Amy Australian Cup for the year 2001, and we've just touched on a few of the chances there, and there certainly are many more. In fact, it's possible to make a case for just about every one of the 14 runners. Well, let's see what the tote punters have made of it so far as we take a look at the figures from around Australia, and we'll concentrate on the Super Tab dividends, where the Caulfield Cup winner, $9.90 for Diatribe, $4.90 for Carpstad Way is the favourite, much shorter in Queensland, around the same in New South Wales. Northerly, $5.80, Oval Office, around about the $26 mark. Sent Home, $8.90. Shore Blue, $37. Hill of Grace, $17. Tickle My, $42 at big each-way odds. Over the page then, Giovanna, one of the Kiwi raiders, $7.80. Shoella, $14.10. Inspect, $55.80. Hit the Roof, the Amy Victoria Derby winner, at $8.70. Neptune's Journey, $11, and big odds for the other 3-year-old, and that is Sale of Century. Big pools here for the Amy Australian Cup 2001, and the race is due to commence in round about 17 minutes away from now. As you can hear, Christine Arnoux is entertaining the crowd here at Flemington in the background. Shortly she'll be singing the national anthem. I wonder which national anthem they'd play after the race if they were playing one. Would it be Australian? Would it be New Zealand? Because the Kiwis have a very, very strong contingent and possibly may take the Cup back across the Tasman. And one of the leading chances is Damien Oliver's mount, looking to give him his 50th Group 1 victory. His name is Carpstad Way.
If all goes to plan for the Wood family, it'll be a case of third time lucky for Carpstad Way. Cappy to his friends came oh so close last spring, second behind Diatribe in the Caulfield Cup, and 4th on the first Tuesday in November.
It was a big run. A few people said he didn't actually go the 2 miles, but we weren't concerned about that. We were quite happy with the way things panned out, and the horse gave 110% according to Damien, so yeah, we were very pleased.
The horse walked off the track that day and left nothing out there. You know, he put so much into it, and he was exhausted after that run.
Aiming for his first Australian Cup victory, Damien Oliver has had the ideal lead-up following his win in the Group 1 Newmarket Handicap on Saturday. Capstad Ways had just the one run since arriving back in Australia, finishing third in the St George Stakes at Caulfield over 1,800 metres.
He ran fourth in the Melbourne Cup over 2 miles, but you know, 2,000 metres is a very good distance for him.
As everyone in Melbourne knows, the great unknown in this part of the world is the weather. Our farmers might be praying for rain, but it's fair to say there's 4 Kiwis and a horse praying it doesn't.
He might get away with it being what we call at home easy, which is very, very minor rain sort of affected ground, but yet he wants firm footing to perform at his best.
Now, the veteran of 3 trips across the Tasman, the 5-year-old appears perfectly primed for his first Group 1 win on Australian soil. And barrier 3, you know, things have just fallen beautifully for you.
Yeah, well, we'll leave that up to Damien. He knows the horse. He's ridden Flemington more times than I have, so if he doesn't know what he's out there for now, well, we've got problems in our hands.
He's a really genuine bloke, Chris. He's been great understanding for me, you know, because I've been offered a lot of good rides through last spring, and you know, I jumped off him and he let me get back on him, and you know, it just shows that Chris's understanding of the game, and you know, I really hope I can repay his effort and win the cup for him.
Regardless of what happens today, the Wood family knows only too well, win or lose, the sun will still come up tomorrow.
We don't really worry about the pressure. To us, it's another race. Don't get me wrong, it is a big race for us, but at the same time, you can't succumb to pressure when you've got horses. You've got plenty of things to think about rather than worrying about what's happening and what's not happening.
And it will all be happening at Flemington this afternoon. Who's going to win? No one really knows for sure. Chris and Colleen Wood are hopeful it'll be Capstad Way. As far as their sons Tom and Jonty are concerned, it will be, without question, Cappy's day. Well, boys, the whole family's out here. How do you think you'll go on Monday? Pretty good?
Damien on, he should win.
Yeah, they're top kids, Tom and Jonty. I met them out the other day when I went and galloped the horse out at Mornington, and they certainly love their race. They've got a lot of character, the kids, and you know, it'll be a great family treat for them and Chris and Colleen. You know, it's a big team effort if we could win the cup for them on Monday.
The day is fast approaching, the 2001 Amy Australian Cup, and the flurry of betting activity is in conjunction with a flood of people around the mounting yard to watch these horses coming in. Let's go through the 14 runners in this Group 1 event, the 139th running, starting off with the Caulfield Cup winner, number 1 Diatribe, Corey Brown the rider for George Hanlon, but he's had 10 starts here at Flemington Mark and he's never won.
That's for sure, Pete. Look, he can't fault his appearance. He's drawn awkward in 12. He's going to get back. I think he needs a lot of luck, but still can't leave a horse like him out.
The favourite is number 2 Capstad Way, Damien Oliver, the informed jockey of the moment, trained by Chris Wood at Mornington. We just saw part of the preparation that has gone into this horse. I thought he was unlucky when he ran 4th in the Melbourne Cup. He might be able to atone here.
Look, he ran on OK last run, Pete, for a good 3rd in the St George. In my opinion, not a great preparation, only had the 2 runs, but I am not the trainer. He did look very, very well in the yard.
Number 3 is the West Australian galloper in Northerly, trained by a harness racing legend in Fred Kersley, ridden by Greg Childs. Now, this horse has had 1 run at 2,000 metres. Some thought he was disappointing, Mark. I didn't think so, and I think he's in this up to his ears.
Certainly not, Pete. Look, he's a tough horse. He's still learning, Pete. He's only had the 9 starts, or will have after today. Had no piece the other day in the big cup. Previous win was super in the Carline Cup. I do believe he's the one to beat still.
What about the jet-setting jockey, number 4 Oval Office, to be ridden by Craig Williams, who'll be off to Dubai very, very shortly. Trained by Colin Little at Caulfield. Always runs home strongly in his races.
Very fit horse, racing well. Gets back. C. Williams will give him a great ride. Look, he meets Northerly poor at weight for age. He's actually meets him 3.5 kilos worse off. I think they might be just a bit too nippy for him today.
Now, I'm just having a good look at number 5, Sent Home, and his condition in the mounting yard is important here because he can get up on his toes, he can get a bit fizzy, but as we can see there, Mark, he looks pretty good. Jim Wallace is the trainer, David Walker is the rider. His win at Caulfield was full of authority.
Yes, tough New Zealand gelding. A good strong win last week, as you mentioned, in the St George. Can get a bit flighty, but that's a fairly norm for him, Pete. He goes very well, this horse. He is a proven weight for age winner.
What about number 6, Shore Blue? Stuart Gower is the trainer. Shane Cale takes the ride.
23 days off, up in class, too much for me. Can't beat Northerly on his last run.
And you can see there, he's at big odds, $41 on Super Tab. Down to number 7, Hill of Grace. This New Zealand mare, trained by Robert Prescott, ridden by Darren Gauci, has drawn the outside gate. She's had a big reputation, but she really hasn't lived up to that reputation over here in Australia.
No, 3rd run run in, as you mentioned, poor gate in barrier 14. Had no luck last spring, Pete. I just think she was beaten 5 lengths by Giovanna last start in New Zealand. I don't think she can turn the tables.
A few people have been pulling my coat, Mark, saying that number 8, Tickle Myers, got a very good each-way chance, and you can see that it's at long odds around the $44 mark on Super Tab. Aaron Spiteri, the rider for Bruce Purcell, should have a nice run from gate 2.
Definitely, Pete. It's the first time she's drawn a gate in a long time. It's her 3rd run in, sat 3 and 4 deep in the St George. Look, she's a good mare. Just wonder whether she's up to these, but I tell you what, you'd have to put her into multiples at them odds.
And if you're going on looks, you won't go too far past this little lady. Number 9, Giovanna. She looks a picture, the Kiwi mare, trained by Roger James to be ridden by one of our great horsemen in Patrick Payne.
She's a tough mare, very classy. Tried hard last run just to be beaten by Sent Home in the St George. She was actually coming back in distance that run. I think she's super fit and a very, very good trainer in Roger James. I think she'll go very, very well.
There's also been a tip around for number 10, Shoella. Another one of the Kiwis. Brett Preble is the rider. Frank Ritchie is the trainer, and he knows what it's like to win an Australian Cup. He won one with the mighty Bone Crusher 14 years ago.
It's her 3rd run in, Pete. Gets back a long way. Was expected big things over the spring last year, but went wrong. She was beaten in a blanket finish last start in New Zealand. It's a bit hard to assess her, but she is a classy mare.
Number 11, Inspect. Karen McAvoy, the rider for Rod Craig, carries the blue and white diagonal stripes that were carried to victory here last year by Intergaze, and this horse, Inspect, is Intergaze's little sister.
Look, it's had 29 days off this horse before last run. Ran on okay in the St George for 4th last week. Not up to weight for age for mine. It's 3 wins have been in restricted class.
Amy sponsor the Victoria Derby. They also sponsor the Australian Cup. It could be a big double for number 12, Hit the Roof, the 3-year-old, trained by David Hall, ridden by Glenn Boss, who rode into victory in the Derby, and they've had a last-minute change of plans in running him in this race.
Yeah, he's drawn poorly, Pete. I think he's got to go forward on this horse, and I just wonder whether he's up to weight for age at this point in time.
Another one of the 3-year-olds, number 13, Neptune's Journey, has drawn gate number 1, so looks as though it's going to get the run of the race for Stephen Baster. Peter Hayes, the trainer, and has been stepping on the till with 3 consecutive seconds.
Very, very consistent, as you mentioned. 2nd in the Guineas, 2nd in the Shannon Classic. I wonder whether he's up to the class, but I think he'll give a lot of cheek, particularly from gate 2.
And what about the John Hawkes runner, Mark, number 14, Sale of Century, Danny Nikolic, the rider?
The 2nd up 600 metres, not ready for mine, but look, he's going to make a nice stayer in the making, probably down the track a little bit in Sydney.
So, will it be Australia or New Zealand? Will it be the older horses or the 3-year-olds? Sum it up for us, Mark Broadfoot.
I like Northerly on top from number 5, 9 and 2.
3, 5, 9 and 2 from Mark Broadfoot as they go to the stalls for the 139th running of the Amy Australian Cup. A field of 14, good crowd in, and they're going to see a wonderful race, I'm sure. And there are the tote figures as they stand all around Australia. Diatribe at 10.50, but Brad McEwen has been saying that he is a very good tip in the betting ring. Carpstad Way is still the favourite. And then we go down to the others, Giovanna and Hit the Roof. But of course, big chances to Sent Home, and he's probably the best of those on the first page as well. So you've got any number of chances here in the Amy Australian Cup. $1.14 million. Let's find out the latest from the betting ring, and there he is looking on Brad McEwen. Brad?
Yeah, thank you, Pete. Well, Cubstud Way, the favourite on the tote, and the favourite down here in the ring. Cappy did drift ever so slightly. He is firmed up, and he will definitely jump favourite. Some late money, though, for Northerly. Not too far behind in the betting. Giovanna also thereabouts. The one that has drifted quite a deal is Sent Home. Also drifting the Caulfield Cup winner, Diatribe. Now, before I mentioned a roughie, Shoella. Well, the money continues to come in for Shoella, but at this stage, with under 5 minutes until the Australian Cup, Cubstud Way definitely the favourite.
Damien Oliver and Carpstad Way, and Damien looking to take out his 50th Group 1 victory. I think he can do it, depending on the pace of the race. I think if it's a truly run race, then Carpstad Way will be a bit too good for them. I was really taken with the look of Giovanna in the mounting yard. She looks magnificent. Northerly number 3, well, we don't know whether he's going to lead. There's some suggestion he might. But he's a very capable West Australian galloper. Don't be alarmed if you see him getting his head up in the air a little bit. He does race that way, and I think the Amy Victoria Derby winner, Hit the Roof, is the best outsider in the race. Mark Broadfoot selections, well, he's gone for Northerly, as he said, to win from Sent Home, which has been a drifter in the betting ring. But importantly, he didn't look as though he was all that fizzed up today. He can certainly get pretty fizzy before the races. And Giovanna was in there for Mark as his 3rd place getter, and his outsider was number 10, Shoella. They start over by the river, 2,000 metres. Now, it's not a big field of 14, but invariably these weight for age races can develop into a battle of tactics. And one man who knows all about tactics is Roy Higgins. We'll be catching up with him in a moment and talk about his past experiences with Australian Cups and also how he marked these horses as they head towards the gate for the start of the AAMI Australian Cup. Now look at those colours. They've been worn by some wonderful horses. Sent Home, the horse out behind the gates in the black with the white sleeves and the red cap. Well, I can tell you that a horse called Carbine, who won the Melbourne Cup in 1890, carried those colours. And there was another horse that wasn't too bad either, a horse called Superimpose, also carried those colours to victory on many occasions, 4 times in the Great Miles in New South Wales. There's Showella, New Zealand horse who was highly regarded as far as the Cups were concerned last year and finished up not running in the Melbourne Cup. But as I said, he has been a bit of a quiet tip around the place today. There is Northerly, the West Australian galloper. Really is a wonderful horse. He's got a terrific burst of acceleration when the rider calls him to go. Now, whether we'll see him go up the front or not today, or whether we'll see Greg Childs try and restrain him, put him to sleep, get a bit of cover. He's drawn barrier number 9, so he'll probably be off the rail if he does that. And the tactics aboard Northerly are going to be all important here in this big race today. The Group 1 event, prize money is $1.25 million. The first prize is $812,500. There's the Derby winner, Hit the Roof. Probably got a few detractors. And Roy Higgins has joined me now as a bit of a gear adjustment is going on with Carpstad Way. Roy, the feeling of the jockeys going behind the barrier for a race like this, not the biggest race on the calendar, but a very important one nonetheless. A few butterflies?
Oh, definitely, Pete. We're talking about a race that's worth in excess of $1 million. A lot of these horses have been primed for this race for quite some time. The important thing is, I think each one will be trying to fizz one another out to see who's going to make the pace. I think this race is a bit confusing because we don't know what's going to make the pace. I think the Cup is going to leave our shores, unfortunately. I did like the look of the mare.
And we'll come back to you for your selections in just a moment, Roy, but an important moment before any big sporting event. The national anthem about to be sung. Here's our Master of Ceremonies, Rob Gaylard.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been listening to Christina New all afternoon, and it gives us great pleasure again to introduce to her again to you one of our most popular artists here in Australia to sing the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to be upstanding.
Wonderful voice of Christine Anu with the national anthem prior to the AAMI Australian Cup, and really does make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up when you see the big crowd. Roy, they're starting to move into the stalls. What are your thoughts?
I think the Cup is going to leave our shores. I've marked the mare on top, Giovanna. I love the look of her. Gee, she's a magnificent beast. I marked her on top of the 2 Capstad's Way, 3 Northerly and 5 Sent Home. 9, 2, 3 and 5, Pete.
Roy Higgins, courtesy of Sport, 927. Last couple are moving in. Hit the Roof goes up into the gates. Hill of Grace is coming up to complete the line. The 139th running of this race. First run just 2 years after the first Melbourne Cup. Brian Martin is your caller for the AAMI Australian Cup.
The lights are blinking. Starter has a good line. Standard are up and running. Tickle My on the inside, and Neptune's Journey begun well. Carpstad Way had no speed out of the gate, and Giovanna and Sent Home are going forward. So too was Northerly up in the centre, sorting themselves out, and Showella just behind those. Hit the Roof is out very wide. Neptune's Journey, Giovanna, Tickle My, Showella are the 4 up front just from Sent Home. And behind those, Northerly, followed by Carpstab Way, who pushed right up on the inside of Shore Blue. A length further back, then hit the roof, followed by Inspect Diatribe, the middle. One oval office and further back in the race then came Hill of Grace, and back in the centre is Sail of Century. Giovanna got the lead at the 1400 metre mark, with Sent Home going up outside it. 2 lengths further back, Neptune's Journey on the inside of Showella. 2 to Tickle My, back along the inside. They're followed by Northerly, a length further back, Shore Blue. 1 then to Carpstab Way, just off midfield. Outside it hit the roof, further back in the race, Diatribe. The insiders Inspect, 1 further back then came Hill of Grace, followed by Oval Office, and 2 last of all, Sail of Century. They've raced to the 1000 metre mark now, and Sent Home is taking on Giovanna. Sent Home striding up on the outside, a neck in front of Giovanna the rail. 2 to Showella, laying up third, followed by Northerly, pulled to the outside. Neptune's Journey over on the fence from Shore Blue. Further back, Tickle My. Oliver has got off the fence now, and Carpstab Way. Outside it hit the roof when they come around the turn from Inspect and Diatribe. On the turn they race now in the Australian Cup, 600 to go. Giovanna from on the outside, Sent Home. Northerly striding up on the outside to make a line of 3. Behind those now is further back in the race, Showella. Neptune's Journey sprung up on the fence. Further back in the race, Shore Blue. Carpstab Way can't get out. Hit the roof outside. It is Northerly. Sprints up with Sent Home. They reach the lead at the 300 metre mark. Northerly took the lead now from Sent Home. Shore Blue into the clear from Hit the Roof, then Carpstab Way. Neptune's Journey and then Diatribe, but Northerly at the 150 is 2 lengths in front from Shore Blue. Hit the Roof coming home well. It's all over. The Western Australian is streaking away. Northerly 3 in front of Hit the Roof, and Carpstab Way late, but Northerly bolts in by 3 lengths to Hit the Roof. Photo for third, Carpstab Way or Shore Blue from Sent Home. Then further back in the Australian Cup at the head of the others would have been Diatribe, Oval Up, a Sail of Century. Behind those, Giovanna, Tickle by Neptune's Journey. Then Inspect, well back in the races, Hill of Grace and Showella. They're both near the tail.
And the Australian Cup goes to WA, and what emphatic fashion it does go to WA in. With Northerly, well, he didn't lead, but he didn't have to. He rode him a beautiful race, Greg Childs. He just settled, probably in 5th or 6th placing, and the horse settled beautifully. And then he produced that sprint that we know that he's got. And at the end of 2,000 metres, he was holding them safely at bay. The Derby winner, Hit the Roof, has run a wonderful race. Here they are in the closing stages. Roy Higgins joins me again. Roy, we spoke about Northerly's acceleration. Didn't he show it today?
A lot of people jumped off the bandwagon. Strange how things go. He won his first start here at Caulfield, looked outstanding, run a track record. Everyone said we've got a superstar. His next run, he was patchy. He raced forward, he raced back, he got off the bit. He did a few things wrong during the running of that race with Brett Preble on board. I said after on Sport 927, don't drop your guard with this horse. This is a very good horse, in very good hands. Today he proved his true ability. Don't you love to see a horse change gear like that?
Yeah.
And mind you, he has made a 600 metre run. He started to go forward at the 600 metre, turned for home, took on a couple of pretty handy horses up there, and then left them standing. That is a very, very good horse.
Carpstab Way has got third, so the numbers are 3, 12 and 2. Northerly, the winner, Hit the Roof second, Carpstab Way third. And look at the way this horse lengthens. Just a couple of other runners in the race, Roy. Sent Home, I'm not sure that he could hold it outside the leader.
No, Sent Home was over racing, and Giovanna, I don't think, wanted to be there. Now, that was always going to be the confusion in the race, who was going to lead, and I do not think that either of the leaders in Giovanna or Sent Home wanted to be there. They had no alternative, and they were just left sitting ducks. I thought Sent Home's run was excellent to keep going the way he did. As you mentioned, he was out sitting half a length in front. That's suicide, absolute suicide. And once a horse is over racing to that extent, that they're not entitled to finish it off. He hung in there.
Carpstab Way had a good trail in transit. Probably got out in enough time, but didn't really ping when Damien asked him to go. But then he was going again on the line.
Yes, he was a little bit one-dimensional, yep, wasn't he, when he came? And the outstanding run also, apart from the winner, that was just an outstanding win. But the 3-year-old, this is a very genuine horse. What's it going to say? Hit the Roof. This horse is potentially a real top marker, this guy. He's a Derby winner, and I think you're going to see more of him during the autumn. Look for him as a cup horse come the spring of next year. Hit the Roof. He's a nice horse.
Roy, Fred Kersley is a legend in the sport of harness racing. He's won just about everything in harness racing. Now he's won one of the biggest thoroughbred races on the calendar. Here is Fred Kersley with Mark Aston.
Yes, and some well wishes too, Peter. Fred, congratulations on not just the win, but the kiss as well. How do you feel after that?
Great. You know, that's fantastic. I mean, I feel a bit humble, actually, to be privileged to train a horse like he is. It's a huge ask to bring him here today. He didn't get it easy in the trip, and when he was asked a big question, he found it, and I just love the horse, and I'm privileged to train him.
Only his second run over 2,000 or at 2,000.
Yeah, but that didn't bother me. I thought he could do that. I just think he's a horse that's starting to make a name for himself and put himself down as one of the very good horses that you're lucky enough you get to train him.
How does this compare with big moments in harness racing?
It's better. I mean, the money's better, the thrill, the privilege, the excitement. The Australian Cup, mate, is better than the Melbourne Cup. Never mind the Melbourne Cup.
And the boy aboard did pretty well.
Not a bad rider for a Kiwi, is he?
He's a good lad, Greg Charles. Mate, congratulations. Have a wonderful night.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Good on you, Fred. Fred Kersley there, Pete. He will be celebrating for a long, long time.
And rightly so, because he has won one of the biggest races on the Australian calendar, the Group 1 Amy Australian Cup. Lovely ride by Greg Childs. He had the horse in the perfect spot to win, knowing that he may have been a bit of a doubt at the 2,000, as we thought, some of us thought before the race. As it turns out, he was no doubt whatsoever, and he's run it in 1:59.4. He's no doubt at the 2,000 metres all right. He's run a track record, 1:59.4, and that has been a distance that has been trod by many great horses over the years, and that horse Northerly has run it quicker than any of them in history. The 139th Australian Cup goes to WA. We'll be back with the wrap-up after the big one on the middle day of the VRC Autumn Carnival on 10 after this. A little bit of history at Flemington on Australian Cup Day 2001. The Amy sponsored race has gone to a West Australian in track record time, 1:59.4. Northerly, a brilliant winner, giving Greg Childs yet another major victory. He won the other big 2,000 metre race, the biggest of them all at weight for age, the BMW Cox Plate at Moonee Valley in October, and now he's won the Amy Australian Cup at Flemington in March. The weight signal about to come up after race 6 on the card from Chairman of Stewards Des Gleeson.
Correct weight?
Weight is there. Correct weight has been notified after the big one of the day. So that means that we can bring you the dividends all around Australia. Mark Broadfoot tipped us into Northerly number 3. So if you're stuck with him, I think you're going to be pretty happy wherever you are, because Northerly has paid $4.60 and $2.10 on Super Tab, $5.10 in New South Wales, $4.90 in Queensland, $3.20 for Hit the Roof, $1.90 for Carpstad Way, running on again at the finish. The trifecta, $232.30. And my 4 selections, I think we managed to find the trifecta there, so maybe you box those, and the Quinella, $28.40. Well, as we said, Greg Childs is a great jockey. He's won the Amy Australian Cup. Here he is with Mark Aston.
Greg Childs, congratulations.
Wow, that was something special, wasn't it?
That was absolutely sensational. A track record as well.
Track record, wow. They were going quite at a good tempo, but they did slow down in the middle stage, or about the 1,000 metres, and my horse started to get onto the bridle there, and Fred was concerned not to have the horse pulling, and well, I decided to let him slide forward 3 wide. Wait for age, it's not a real ideal thing to do, but it's a case of knowing the horse. Fred knew the